What's up, guys? Jake Spurley, founder of Fair and Event, fairandevent.com. It's good to have you here today. Today we're talking about managing exhibitors. What does that mean? Why are we talking about this? I thought you just kind of, took in forms, accepted, rejected, took money, didn't. Much bigger than that if you haven't figured it out already. If you're a new vendor exhibitor coordinator, or if you've been in the industry for 10, 20 years, we can always learn something new and different. Here's the thing, guys. Our company, Fair and Event, works with a ton of exhibitors and vendors every single day, applying to different events. And we also work with the events on, helping them streamline their application process for booth sales. That being said, me personally, I started out in this industry as a vendor. I actually owned a food truck traveling to all these different events around Oregon and Southwest Washington, vending at different events. So I've been a vendor and an exhibitor myself, and I've also been a vendor coordinator. I was the coordinator for a large county fair here in Oregon. So I've seen both sides. I know what works and I know what doesn't. I know what I wanted to see when I was a vendor, and I also know what I wanted to see when I was a vendor coordinator. Seen both sides. That's why we're going to go over some great things today, just tips on managing your vendors or exhibitors for your event. So the first thing, just like any good relationship, you have to think about it like this. The relationship between you, the event, and your vendors or exhibitor is a true business relationship. They're not just pesky vendors that want to go to your show and sell their wares or, just have a booth space. It's a true relationship between the two of you. In each relationship, if you're married or you have a significant other, whatever, or been in any relationship, that communication is the absolute foundation to any great relationship. So, number one, you have to have great communication. What does that mean? I sent them an email when they applied. I sent them an acceptance letter. I sent them an email before they got to my show. Like, I communicated. No, not even close. How would you feel, if you were the vendor, you just paid maybe $1,000, even if it's a couple $100 to attend a show, and you only got like 3 random emails from the event? You'd be like, whoa, is this event legit? Like, why aren't they helping me be more successful or get more prepared for the show? So the first thing, communication. What does that look like? Communication is literally the foundation, the cement foundation to building a great relationship with your vendors and exhibitors. So how do we do that? We do that by, one, constantly updating them on any changes to the show, re-booth, if you have to assign them to a different booth or move them, telling them about that, deadlines, payments, any new things that are happening at your event, new concert bookings, new speakers, literally any big update, tell your vendors. There is nothing worse coming from a vendor side than just being in the dark, because they want to promote your event too, because the more folks that go to your event, the more likely they are to also come to their booth. So any updates, let them know, so they can put on their social media or email it out to all their followings. The other bit is the communication at and during the event. It's not enough to just say, all right, there's your booth, go set up, we'll see you at the end of the show. Check in with them. If they're not being successful, they're not coming back to your show. It's literally as simple as that. So it's your job not only to put them in a good position for success, but also to make sure that they are successful at your show. So what does that look like? Check in. Hey, anything, what's going good? What's going bad? Is there anything I personally can do to make your experience better at our event? Hey, I see you don't have any, it's pretty hot out. Do you want some water? I got a case of water. Do you want any water here? Treat them like you care, and that comes pre-event, post-event, during the event. The whole time, communicate with them, check in on them. And then coming to after the event, check in. How did your show go? Send out a survey. What went well for you? What were the 3 things that you liked most about our show? What are the 3 things that you would have changed about the show? What was, the best thing that we did for you during the show? What could we do personally? What's one thing that we could change that would make this show better for you in your personal eyes? Everybody wants to tell you their opinion and their thoughts. Give them the opportunity to. Because if you don't give them the opportunity to tell you what their thoughts were, how can you be better? How can you not only be better as individually, but how can you make your show better so that your exhibitors and vendors are more happy? Obviously, everybody has an opinion and you can't make everybody happy. But if you get 4 vendors that are all saying the same thing, maybe it's time to look into that and try and make that change. The other bit here is you never want to overpromise and underdeliver. But there's always a saying of manage the expectations. And they're not unreasonable if they have poor expectations. So 2 is going to be expectations. What does that mean? If the deadline is June 1st, make that the expectation. All your stuff must be in June 1st. That is the expectation. If the expectation is that they're open till 10, that is the expectation. Clearly communicate that. If you don't clearly communicate your expectations from them, how are they supposed to know? Sure, you might have put in the contract and they signed the contract 6 months ago or maybe a year ago. That's not realistic and that's not reasonable for them to remember every little bit and piece that's in that contract. Make the expectation and then communicate that to them. The other bit is, I think, wildly underrated is putting the show in a position for vendors to succeed. I think oftentimes outside of the expo trade show world where, vendors might be a byproduct or a second and afterthought to the show. Maybe it's like a county fair or a festival. Vendors are just there because you have extra space and, you want food to sell or you want merch there, whatever. Keep them in mind when you're doing things. If it wasn't for vendors, a lot of shows would be a lot less appealing to attendees. So I think the third thing we can write up here when you're managing your exhibitors is to keep them in mind. That was atrocious. You get the point. Keep them in mind. So if you don't, like I said before, if you don't have vendors or exhibitors, sometimes you don't have a show. If they feel like they are not appreciated at your show, they won't come back. And it is a common feeling, just from a vendor perspective, that vendors feel like they're a burden and that they are like little kids and the events are just like, towering down on them and you're going to do this, and this, and they have no say. Don't make them feel that way. The best shows that I see that succeed make their vendors a cornerstone and a paramount element of their events. They always put them in a position to succeed. They make sure that they're succeeding. If they're not succeeding, they do everything in their absolute power to make sure that they are in the better or best position to succeed. And so much of managing exhibitors and vendors is just how you treat them. Everybody wants to be treated well. And I think sometimes vendors and exhibitors get a bad rap of they never follow directions, they're needy, they're this, they're that. Who cares? Everybody deserves a high level of respect, especially in this industry where there's constantly moving parts. You also got to think about vendors and exhibitors are usually attending a lot of shows, especially during the summertime. So you're not the only show they go to. It's very easy for them to slip up and miss something. Nobody's perfect. I guarantee the person watching, you guys aren't perfect either. So give them some grace, treat them kindly. If it wasn't for them, the entertainment industry and the events industry would not be the same as we know it today. So again, managing exhibitors really comes out of 3 things: communication, expectations, and keeping them in mind. If you follow those 3 steps, I guarantee you're going to have a better exhibitor vendor program. Your vendors are going to be happier. You're going to be probably a little bit more sane, which, let's be frank, we could all have a little bit more sanity in the entertainment industry because so many things are moving around at a fast pace. Have any questions? Drop us a comment down below. We'd be grateful if you hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon so you get notifications when we push them out. And hey guys, really hope you're having a good rest of your day. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.